What's up, guys? This is Mike from True Business Review, and before we get into today's video predicting the Washington Redskins record, I just want to say thank you for all the support on our videos. Make sure that you keep hitting that subscribe button if you're new to this channel, so you can make sure that you view all of our great content that we will be releasing in the future. So today is the fourth installment in the NFL schedule predictions for every single NFL team. So I'm going through all 32 teams, predicting their record, keeping everything consistent. If one team wins here, another team loses there. And we started with the NFC East, predicted the Cowboys, Giants, and Eagles so far. Make sure to go check out what their records are predicted for the 2020 season. Today, this video is going to be maybe not as long as the other ones because we're predicting a team that, how do I say this without insulting Redskins fans, is not that good. The Washington Redskins are not the best team in the NFL. In fact, they are a dumpster fire of a team. And they have a tough schedule this year, which is not going to help them in the slightest bit. So before we get into things, I am going to talk about what the Washington Redskins did in the offseason. So if they improved or if they did not. Obviously, last year, the Redskins had a measly record of 3 wins and 13 losses. So, yikes, they finished last in the division, and things, I don't know, didn't work out for them. So let's talk about what the Redskins did this year. They didn't do that much. Honestly, this is one of the most inactive teams this year in the offseason. So one of the biggest things they did, they drafted Chase Young, number 2 overall. He's OP. Ohio State sucks, but he wrecked everybody that he played in college, and he obviously really held out that Ohio State defense. In my opinion, I think Chase Young is going to be a great defensive player, and he's going to be the captain of this defense, no doubt, and he'll make an impact day one on this roster. The second biggest move they made this offseason, they signed Eagles cornerback Ronald Darby, and he's going to be one of this team's best defensive players alongside with Chase Young. Ronald Darby is actually a really solid addition to this team. This team could use some better cornerbacks. Josh Norman's getting old, we all know that. But Ronald Darby's a really solid player. I think he suffered with injuries in 2019, but he should be healthy at the start of the 2020 season. Next up, they signed Kyle Allen from the Carolina Panthers. Kyle Allen's a decent quarterback. I didn't think he was that great with the Panthers. Honestly, I think that Christian McCaffrey overshadowed him and made him look better than he is possibly. But the question is, will Haskins or Allen start for this team? Dwayne Haskins obviously was the a rookie quarterback. Him and Case Keenum competed for the starting job in 2019. And honestly, I don't even know. In fact, I don't even know. Is Case Keenum still on that team? No. They got rid of Case Keenum, and he's off to the Cleveland Browns. So basically, it's between Dwayne Haskins and Kyle Allen. Also, is Alex Smith still alive? Nobody knows. I mean, I haven't heard from Alex Smith in a couple decades. Like, it's crazy. He's still on the Redskins roster, I believe. Broke his leg, obviously. Alex Smith was actually a really solid quarterback. I thought he could have made this team a lot better than any of the quarterbacks they have right now, so it sucks that he got injured. But you never know. I know he posted a workout video of him bouncing back from injury, so we'll have to see how that situation plays out. And the only other major move for this team is that Jordan Reed is gone, so now their tight ends all suck. Jordan Reed obviously suffered with concussions throughout his career. So with all that being said, it's time to predict the Washington Redskins record game by game for the 2020 season. So the Redskins start things off with a home game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, this Washington Redskins team is not good. Terry McLaurin is their only really deep threat on offense. Obviously, Darius Geis was injured last year. They have Adrian Peterson. Those running backs are not even the best running backs, and not even close to top 10 running back duo in the NFL. Terry McLaurin's this team's bright spot on offense. He's their only deep field vertical threat. And obviously their quarterback situation is horrible. And their defense isn't great besides Chase Young and Ronald Darby. I'm giving the Philadelphia Eagles this win week 1, even though it's in Washington. The Eagles did a ton of moves this offseason. Obviously, I think that their offensive line and defensive line are going to really dominate the Redskins like usual. Last year we saw Deshaun Jackson, when he was healthy, have 3 touchdowns in one game against the Redskins. Now he'll probably be facing off against former teammate Ronald Darby. But he's probably used to that because they probably ran together in practice all last year. So I think that the Philadelphia Eagles top the Washington Redskins week 1. Redskins 0-1. Next up, The Washington Redskins play the new look Arizona Cardinals in Arizona. The Arizona Cardinals, one of my favorite teams heading into the 2020 season. They stole DeAndre Hopkins right out from Bill O'Brien. They have Christian Kirk, Larry Fitzgerald, Kyler Murray, Kenyon Drake. That offense just seems like fun to play on. There's not really any weak spots on that offense besides the offensive line, which honestly improved in the offseason. Their defense is a little questionable. Patrick Peterson, Chandler Jones, Isaiah Simmons. I think their defense is definitely going to take a step up from 2019, but I think that their offense is going to be the bright spot. And I say the Cardinals win week 2 against the Redskins. Redskins 0-2. Next up, the Redskins play to the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. This game is interesting because I don't have the Cleveland Browns being a great team either. Baker Mayfield, I think he's still looking for his identity in the NFL. I think eventually he'll settle down maybe as a backup once the Browns get tired of losing. So I think that this is going to be a competitive game. But the sole fact that it's in Cleveland gives the Browns an advantage against the Redskins, especially because the Redskins are going to be coming off 2 hard games against the Eagles and Cardinals. Browns win week 3 against the Redskins, and the Browns sneak this one out. Redskins 0-3. Now, the Redskins' schedule is really hard. The next couple games they have to play the Ravens, Rams, Giants, and Cowboys. So starting off with the Ravens. The Ravens, I don't even think I should even talk about this game. The Ravens are a really good team. Lamar Jackson's going to dominate this game. However, this is going to be Chase Young against the Ravens' offensive line. Can the Ravens' offensive line stop Chase Young from penetrating and getting after Lamar Jackson? Does Chase Young have the speed to maybe spy on Lamar Jackson? It's going to be an interesting game, I think, just watching that. But that's the only reason it's going to be interesting. I don't think that this score is going to be close, and I think the Redskins fall to 0-4. Next up, Redskins play the Rams in Washington. The Rams, they're a solid team. I think they'll 6-10, maybe 8-8. We'll have to see how that team does. But I think the Rams have the talent to beat the Redskins. Jared Goff, they got their new running back, new look offense with who they get rid of. They might have got rid of Brandon Cooks. I forget the wide receiver. They got rid of some wide receiver though. And Cooper Kupp, obviously, him and Jared Goff have a little repertoire going. Los Angeles Rams come into Washington and beat the Redskins with ease. Redskins 0-5. Uh-oh. It's panic mode for the Washington Redskins. They're 0-5, and they're traveling to their division rival of the New York Giants in New York. Saquon Barkley versus Chase Young. Penn State versus Ohio State. Classic rivalry rematch. Now, I believe Saquon Barkley will win this rematch, and the Giants will beat the Redskins and put them to 0-6. The Giants drafted their offensive lineman they wanted 4th overall, and I think they have one of the more explosive offenses in the NFL. Both of these defenses compare evenly. Maybe the Redskins have a tiny edge on defense, but I think that the Giants have an extreme offensive advantage. Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, Golden Tate, all those guys were injured or suspended last year for the most part. Daniel Jones and Saquon, and then their new look offensive line that they've structured the way that they wanted to. I believe the Giants come in and win this game, and the Redskins fall to 0-6. Next up, the Dallas Cowboys come to Washington, and as much as I wish that the Redskins put up any threat for the Cowboys will win this game without a doubt. I know last year I believe the Redskins, in the first half of the game in Dallas, they hung with the Cowboys, and it was actually a closer game than it should have been by far. But that was a fluke, and I think that the Cowboys definitely aren't going to choke this game to the Redskins for obvious reasons. I don't think that Dak Prescott is so horrible that he's going to lose to the Washington Redskins and their horrible defense. Redskins fall to 0-7. Now, will the Redskins go 0-16? Unfortunately, they play the New York Giants in Washington because they play them twice a year for the divisional games. And I think that the Redskins will sneak out a win against the Giants when it's a home game. Obviously, they lost to them 2 weeks prior, but I believe that game will be somewhat close. And I think that in Washington, who knows, maybe one of their quarterbacks, who knows what quarterback's going to be starting for the Redskins in the middle of the season, but maybe him and Terry McLaurin are going to have a little dynamic duo kind of thing going on. Maybe Terry McLaurin gets 2 deep bombs this game. Someone returns a punt for a touchdown. defensive interception, who knows? I think that the Washington Redskins get the win against the Giants at home. Giants 1-7. Next up, the Redskins travel to Detroit to play the Detroit Lions. Now, I don't want to give anything away right here, but I think the Detroit Lions are going to be a Cinderella team in 2020. I'm not going to give any hints on what their record is, but they did a lot this offseason. They signed Desmond Trufant and drafted Jeff Okudah, hoping one of them can replace Darius Slay. I think Kenny Golladay is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the league. I think he'll torch Ronald Darby. I think Matthew Stafford's also a really good quarterback. It's just whether or not he stays healthy and stuff, and his offensive line gives him any time to protect him. They signed offensive tackle Halapoulivaati Vaitai to a big deal. I think that this team has a really good offense and a decent defense. Okudah, Trey Flowers, Jamie Collins, Trufant. I think this team is going to be a Cinderella story in 2020, and I think that they will beat the Redskins at home with ease. Redskins 1-8. Next up, the Redskins play the Cincinnati Bengals in what will be one of the most watched games of the season. I think both of these teams are going to be bad, but when you see two bad teams playing, who knows who's going to win? It's going to be kind of funny, especially with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow playing against Dwayne Haskins. Probably Dwayne Haskins, we'll have to see. I think that the Bengals win this game in Washington. I think their offense is better. They have Joe Mixon, Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, A.J. Green. Really decent offense right there. Both of these teams' defenses, I mean, the Redskins have a better defense than the Bengals, but I give the offensive advantage to the Bengals, and they'll win in Washington. So what's that, 1-9 it looks like? Yep. Next up, they play the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. The Redskins don't stand a chance. The Cowboys are going to sweep the Redskins this year like they did last year, and the Dallas Cowboys beat the Washington Redskins in Dallas. Let's see. Let's count those losses. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1-10 for the Washington Redskins. Now, this is a hard schedule for the Redskins. After they lose to the Cowboys, they play the Steelers and 49ers, both away, then the Seahawks, then the Eagles, and the Panthers. GG Redskins. They travel to Pittsburgh to play one of the league's best defenses. Now, the only question with the Steelers is if Ben Roethlisberger can be as good as he was in his prime. Personally, I don't think that he will be as good, but luckily for Steelers fans, it won't matter against the Washington Redskins how good Ben Roethlisberger is. The Pittsburgh Steelers defense, number 1 in the NFL. Minka Fitzpatrick, T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward, Joe Hayden. Stacked defense, pretty solid roster overall. Steelers win this game in Pittsburgh with ease. Next up, San Francisco 49ers. I think the 49ers will take a step back this year. Their offense downgraded with no Matt Breida, no Emmanuel Sanders. I think that will really hurt them overall. But Jimmy Garoppolo and George Kittle, still a really solid duo. Deebo Samuel. Obviously, they got rid of Marquise Goodwin as well, so rip Marquise Goodwin. But the 49ers defense is strong enough to hold off the Redskins. Easy win for the 49ers. And looks like the Redskins are 1-12 at this point. Next up, Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks, I don't even want to think of this game. Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Chris Carson, and a good offensive line. How many points is this team going to put up against the Washington Redskins? What I think is the Seahawks are going to go up like 21-7 and then just run the ball with Chris Carson the whole entire game. Probably win this game 30-14, 30-7. Seahawks take the easy win in Washington. Redskins are 1-13. Next up, the Redskins play the Carolina Panthers at home, and this is an interesting game, but the clear advantage on these two rosters, the two main players, Chase Young and Christian McCaffrey. Now, which one of these players is going to carry their team to a victory? The answer is Christian McCaffrey. I've been siding with offense a lot in this video, and it's no different right here. Christian McCaffrey's an experienced running back in the NFL. Chase Young's going to have some catching up to do. I think that Christian McCaffrey, he dominated the Redskins before. I think he'll do it again. Probably 3 receiving touchdowns this game. Carolina Panthers get carried against the Redskins by Christian McCaffrey, and they win 1-14 for the Redskins. Next up, to finish their schedule out, the Washington Redskins have to travel to Philadelphia after already losing to them prior in the season And the Philadelphia Eagles close off their schedule with an easy win against the Redskins at home. And that wrapped things up. Washington Redskins 1-15. Now, looking at my schedule, let's see. That looks like the Redskins are going to have the second worst record in the NFL, 1-15. I don't think this team is necessarily going to be worse than last year when they went 3-13. It's just the way that their schedule plays out, the teams that they play. I predict them going 1-15. I think that their low is 1-15. I think at the best they can go 4-12 maybe if they sneak out some wins. But I predict 1-15 based off their schedule right now. And that's it. So next up, I'm predicting the NFC North, it looks like. So I'll be predicting all those teams. So make sure you definitely subscribe so you don't want to miss those videos. Comment what you think the Redskins are going to be. And also make sure that you're fair. Because if you say 4-12 or 5-11, you got to say what games that you think they're going to win. Because if you look at their schedule, it's kind of hard to predict what games they're going to win based off all the teams that are better than them. So yeah. Thanks for watching this video, and comment who you guys think is the worst team in the NFL, because like I said, the Washington Redskins have the second worst record on my bracket. So which team do you guys think I have at the worst record in the NFL? So with that, let's wrap things up. Thanks for watching.